Imagine it's the end of a long workday. Maybe you're just getting home from the office. Traffic was terrible. You had an annoying phone call where extra work was just put on your plate that you have to do that night. You were going to work out, but now you don't have time for that. You get to your house and you discover, for whatever reason, the garage door doesn't open and you have no idea. So you're tired, you're hungry, a glass of wine, a glass of scotch sounds really good right now, and you can't even get into your house. You're sick and tired. And in that state, you're about to go into the house and see maybe your spouse, your family, your partner. Should you even walk in the door when you're in that state? Welcome to Everyday a New Thought. I'm Thor Chalgren. Today, I want to talk about mastering transitions, where you move from one place or situation to another. And I'm going to share an easy 3-step process for when you want to shift gears from one situation to another. Now, the scene I just described is one we can probably all identify with. It's moving from one activity to another, whether it's from work to home or from one meeting to another or one call to another. It could be that commute that you made to work or an annoying meeting that you have to move from into a call with another person. In our lives, we are constantly shifting gears from one thing to another. Can you maybe think of a situation recently where you had to make that sort of rapid transition from one situation to another? Today, with a lot of people working from home, that transition moment is even less obvious than it used to be. It used to be we had an hour or so and a commute from one place to another. Now, your commute could be from your home office down the hall to your house or down the stairs. So you literally, when you're working from home, this skill set of moving from one activity to another is more important than ever. In episode 90 of the show, I talked about the process of getting back to neutral. This comes from David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. And what he describes as getting back to neutral is this idea of when you finish an activity, instead of just leaving all of your stuff out, you put it away. You return your workspace, even if it's your mental workspace, to a neutral position so that when you start the next activity, the next day, for instance, you're not having to deal with the stuff from before. And I think that same process applies here, where it's not just when you're getting started, but when you're transitioning from one situation, one place, one activity to another. So today I want to talk about how to shift gears from one activity to another and how to show up as the best version of you. I have a metaphor for it, and I like to think of this as mental sorbet. You know about sorbet, right? It's a frozen dessert where it kind of often will have a mint or fruit flavor to it. But the idea is that when you have sorbet, you finish one course of a meal, then sorbet is served. And what it does is it cleanses the palate so that you have a fresh take on the next course that you're going to be served. So I think it's the same idea here. We can think of this process as mental sorbet. So today what I'm going to do is paraphrase a 3-step process that author Brendon Burchard talks about in his book, High Performance Habits. He calls this process mastering transitions. So here's how it works. Step 1, close your eyes for the next minute or two. So wherever you are, if you're finishing one activity, let's say, for instance, you're in that car that I described in the beginning, you're about to go in the house. So you close your eyes for a minute or two. Step 2 is while your eyes are closed, you repeat the word release in your mind over and over. So you're just saying release, release, release. And while you do this, you want to think about letting go of the tension in your body, just feeling that sort of whatever energy was there before, whether it was the horrible commute, the call you made, whatever happened before, you are now letting go of that by saying in your mind, release. You're going to do this for about a minute or so. Just so that you start to feel some of that tension go away. And it doesn't have to be all of the tension that you're letting go of, but some of it. So now you feel that energetically you've changed who you are in that moment. Step 3, what you want to do is set an intention of how you want the next activity to be. What energy do you want to bring? How do you intend to enjoy that moment? How can you bring excellence to whatever activity you're about to do? If it was in that example of you're about to walk in the house and have dinner with your family, how do you want that dinner to feel? What do you want the conversations to be like? How do you want to take in that experience, and how do you want to participate in it? Who do you want to be energetically in that moment? Whatever the answer to that question is, think about that is the energy you're going to bring to that next activity. You can probably see why this would be so helpful. Whatever happened before, you're letting go of it. If you had a meal course that you didn't like, you're now having sorbet, and you get to then choose to take a new mindset to that next course you're going to eat. You're cleansing your palate, and you get to decide whatever intention you want to have for that next activity. You get to decide how it will taste. So try this out. Pick one transition moment. For example, maybe again, it's the end of the workday, and especially now, it's important with so many of us working from home. You might try this at home, where if you're finishing something at home that you're working on, even if you don't always work from home, but pick that moment and say, okay, I'm finished with this moment now. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to say the word release for about a minute, and then I'm going to decide, how do I want to show up in that next moment? There are literally all kinds of ways that you can think about using this moment. Maybe it's finishing a call and moving into a meeting. How do you want that meeting to go? Maybe you're going to have dinner with the family. What mood do you want for that dinner? You could also use this before doing any creative work. Maybe you're moving from one kind of work, like answering emails, and now you're going to write something where you want creativity. Use that same technique there, where you imagine what that creative feeling is like that you're going to bring to that next activity. I will tell you, I also did this process before recording this particular podcast episode. So the ways and the times that you can use this technique, limitless. I'm sure that as you think of this now, you'll be able to find all sorts of ways yourself. So remember, release tension, set intention. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. If you like the show, please hit like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast app. Until tomorrow, thanks for watching.